What if everything you thought you knew about electric cars was completely wrong? Most people assume EVs are boring, limited, and overpriced compromises, but three specific electric vehicles are quietly outperforming their gas-powered rivals in ways that nobody is talking about. We are not discussing range or charging speed today. We are going deeper into engineering secrets, ownership realities, hidden capabilities, and surprising facts that most automotive journalists never bother to mention. If you have ever doubted whether an EV could genuinely replace a gasoline car in your real life, what you are about to discover will change your perspective entirely. And if this kind of deep automotive content is what you live for, hit that subscribe button right now, like this video, and drop a comment below telling us whether you currently drive an EV or a gas car. That conversation is going to be incredible. Stay with us, because the first car on this list alone will completely reframe how you think about electric vehicles forever. The first vehicle that belongs on this list is the Hyundai Ioniq 6, and here is where things get genuinely fascinating. Most people look at this car and see a sleek sedan trying to compete with Tesla, but engineers and aerodynamicists see something far more radical. The Ioniq 6 achieved a drag coefficient of just 0.21, which makes it more aerodynamically efficient than a Porsche 911 and nearly matches the slipperiness of purpose-built racing concepts. That number is not just impressive on paper. It directly translates into real-world range that defies expectations, with the rear-wheel drive long-range version officially exceeding 610 kilometers on the European WLTP cycle. But what most drivers never realize is that the Ioniq 6 was engineered on the dedicated eGMP platform, meaning no gas car compromises were baked into its bones. The battery sits flat under the floor, creating a perfectly low center of gravity that makes the car feel planted and alive through corners in a way sedans twice its price struggle to match. The 800-volt architecture allows it to charge from 10 to 80% in approximately 18 minutes under ideal conditions, which is faster than most people spend at a gas station when you include waiting, pumping, and paying. The interior offers more rear legroom than a BMW 5 Series, despite the Ioniq 6 being shorter overall, because the flat floor reclaims space that a transmission tunnel would otherwise consume. And there is one detail almost nobody talks about. The Ioniq 6 comes equipped with a vehicle-to-load feature that lets owners power external devices and even small appliances directly from the car battery, essentially turning it into a mobile power station during camping trips or power outages. The second EV on this list carries a reputation that its competitors have spent millions trying to undermine, and yet it keeps winning. The Tesla Model 3 Long Range, particularly in its Highland Refresh form released in late 2023, represents something that traditional automakers genuinely feared. A car that improves dramatically after you buy it. Over-the-air software updates have added features like improved regenerative braking curves, enhanced driver assistance, and performance tuning adjustments that literally made the car faster and more efficient without anyone touching the hardware. Most gas car owners will never experience buying a vehicle and then waking up one morning to find it genuinely better than it was the night before. But what makes this even crazier is the reliability data that has quietly been accumulating for years. Consumer reports and independent surveys from markets like Norway, where EVs have been common for over a decade, consistently show that the Model 3 experiences dramatically fewer mechanical failures than comparable gas sedans over 5 years of ownership. There are no oil changes, no timing belt replacements, no transmission fluid flushes, no spark plug swaps, and no exhaust system maintenance. The drivetrain has roughly 20 moving parts compared to the hundreds found in a comparable internal combustion powertrain. Norwegian taxi fleets running Model 3s have logged over 500,000 kilometers on original drivetrains with minimal intervention, a figure that would destroy most gas engines long before being reached. The Model 3 Highland also introduced a redesigned interior with ambient lighting, a rear touchscreen, and acoustic glass that makes the cabin quieter than a Mercedes C-Class at highway speeds, according to independent decibel measurements. If this is making you rethink what you assumed about EVs, subscribe right now. Share this video with someone who still thinks electric cars are a fad, and let us know in the comments which fact about the Model 3 surprised you the most, because we are just getting started. The third vehicle on this list is the one that surprises people the most, partly because it comes from a brand most automotive enthusiasts associate with nostalgia rather than revolution. The Kia EV6 GT is a car that should not exist at the price it sells for, and yet here it is, producing 584 horsepower from 2 electric motors, launching from 0 to 100 km per hour in 3.4 seconds, and beating the Porsche Taycan GTS in several independent drag strip tests conducted in 2022 and 2023. But performance numbers alone do not tell the full story of what makes this car secretly better than almost any gas alternative in its price range. The EV6 GT uses the same 800-volt platform as the Ioniq 6, but pushes it to its limits with active cooling on the rear motor specifically designed to allow repeated hard acceleration runs without the thermal throttling that plagued early performance EVs. Independent testers found that the EV6 GT could complete back-to-back track runs with minimal performance degradation, something even some dedicated sports cars struggle with due to heat management issues. The braking system is equally astonishing, using a blend of regenerative and friction braking so seamlessly integrated that drivers reported it feeling indistinguishable from a purely mechanical system, which is an engineering achievement most EV manufacturers are still chasing. What happened next shocked everyone when long-term ownership reports began emerging. EV6 GT owners discovered their brake pads were lasting extraordinarily long because regenerative braking was handling the majority of deceleration in everyday driving. One owner in Germany publicly documented driving over 80,000 kilometers before needing to replace brake pads for the first time, a maintenance interval that defies anything achievable in a high-performance gas car. The EV6 GT also features an electronic limited-slip differential on the rear axle, a component typically reserved for serious sports cars, which allows it to manage power distribution mid-corner with precision that turns mundane roads into genuinely exciting experiences. There is a bigger picture hiding behind all three of these vehicles that most automotive coverage completely ignores, and it connects directly to why these EVs are not just good alternatives but are quietly establishing a new standard that gas cars will struggle to match going forward. The total cost of ownership calculation, when done honestly over a 5 to 7 year period, consistently favors these electric vehicles over their gasoline equivalents by margins that are frankly stunning. A comprehensive study published by the University of Michigan Transportation Research Institute found that EV owners in the United States spend on average 40% less on fuel and maintenance combined compared to comparable gas vehicle owners over a 5-year period. For the Ioniq 6, Model 3, and EV6 GT specifically, those savings compound because all three share relatively simple drivetrain architectures with fewer wear components and longer service intervals. But what makes this even more interesting is the hidden performance advantage that emerges in real-world urban driving. Because electric motors deliver their full torque instantaneously from 0 revolutions per minute, these cars feel dramatically faster and more responsive in the stop-and-go situations where most people actually drive, compared to their official 0 to 100 figures might even suggest. A turbocharged gas engine must spool up, the transmission must select the right gear, and the torque curve must reach its peak before full acceleration is felt, a process that takes fractions of a second but creates a hesitation gap that EV drivers simply do not experience. Real-world street driving surveys consistently show EV drivers reporting higher satisfaction with everyday performance than owners of equivalently priced gas sports sedans, and that gap has been growing wider with each generation of electric drivetrain development. The engineering teams behind these three vehicles understood something years ago that is only now becoming obvious to the broader market. Electric motors are not just different from combustion engines. They are in many measurable ways superior for the driving tasks most people actually perform every single day. What we have explored today is just the surface of a transformation that is happening faster than most people realize, and the three vehicles on this list represent the clearest evidence that the electric revolution is not coming. It is already here, and it is already winning on terms that gasoline cars set themselves. The Hyundai Ioniq 6 rewrote the rules of aerodynamic efficiency and interior space. The Tesla Model 3 proved that a car can grow better over time through software in ways combustion vehicles simply cannot replicate. The Kia EV6 GT demonstrated that electric performance can be sustained, precise, and genuinely thrilling rather than just impressive in a straight line. None of these facts were invented for this video. They come from engineering data, independent testing, long-term ownership reports, and studies that anyone can verify, because the truth about these cars is extraordinary enough without exaggeration. The automotive world is in the middle of its most significant shift since the invention of the internal combustion engine, and understanding which vehicles are genuinely leading that shift makes you a smarter, more informed driver regardless of what you choose to park in your driveway. If you made it this far, you're clearly someone who takes this stuff seriously, and this channel needs more people like you. Subscribe right now so you never miss a deep dive like this one. Hit the like button if any of these facts genuinely surprised you. Share this video with someone who is still on the fence about EVs, and tell us in the comments below which of these 3 vehicles you would choose and why, because that debate is one we absolutely want to have with you.